Good morning, beautiful people. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day today. When the DLC the Resistance DLC dropped for the PlayStation 4, I made a video about the Darkest Shore, and that video was mostly positive. And now that it has dropped on the PC version of World War II, I have got to play it on my normal setup, and like that first video, this video is going to be mostly positive. There's a lot of things that I like about the Dark Shore. It's a smaller map, so it's not that confusing either. You can get around places pretty efficiently. The power switch, there's just two power switches to two different areas of the map, which I find very just convenient. You know, it's not the most compelling, it's not the most exciting, but we don't really need that exciting or compelling power switches. That's something Zetsubou no Shima certainly taught us. However, there is even something better I like about the Dark Shore, and that is how you get Pack-a-Punch, because the way you do Pack-a-Punch kind of allows you to learn the map as well as unlock Pack-a-Punch. There are 3 different parts, and you need to ride the minecart to each different location from each different location, if that makes sense. There are 3 different locations that the minecart can go. It's kind of like in a triangle, and you need to go ride to each destination from each other destination in order to get all 3 of the parts that you need to pick up. That's the worst way of saying it, but hopefully that makes sense and you guys know how to unlock Pack-a-Punch. But what this does is that it makes the player recognize where they're going, where they've already been, and where they still need to go, all by just still doing Pack-a-Punch. You kind of learn what to call certain areas of the map. Hey, this is the U-boat section, this is the other section. You kind of understand and learn the map a little bit more effectively because of the way you unlock Pack-a-Punch. It's really nice. It's a really simple, it's really easy, and it's not quite compelling way of opening Pack-a-Punch. You're just opening things up on a minecart ride, but ultimately it doesn't need to be all that compelling. It's just there, and it's really fun, simple, and quick. There's no hassle to it. It's very relaxed, and it's very easy. There are a couple different things that I also like about the Darkest Shore, the new additions, I'll say, and that is going to be the boss zombie. Now, the boss zombie, I didn't quite understand at first, and I was like, I don't know if I'll like this, and even still, I'm not completely 100% comfortable with him, but I think I like the idea of him. He's this boss zombie. He comes during the fog, which we'll talk about, and you don't necessarily kill him because as he's running towards you, if you deal enough damage to him, he will alter his course and run away. Now, he does this for maybe as many attacks as it takes to actually kill him, but I like that. I think that's a good idea. It's this one boss zombie where it's not like he's a bullet sponge like the Panzer. He would be like the Panzer if every time you dealt a certain amount of damage to him, the Panzer would kind of just respawn and then come back like a wave. So it gave you a little bit of a break to reload, gather your breath, get your train back together, so it's not as chaotic and it's not as uncomfortable to fight. However, that is exactly kind of how I fight him. It feels very chaotic. It feels very, very uncomfortable to fight him. I don't know if that's just not enough practice, which it probably is, not enough familiarity with where his weak spot is or isn't or whatnot, or maybe I'm just not good at it, which is completely the case, or completely could be the case as well. I do like his design, and of course I made this comparison in that first video, but it's totally Dead Space. It's totally a necromorph, and you know, my top 5 favorite things that I like about World War II Zombies was the horror aspect of it. It's just another thing that I love about it. It's just so good. I think it might need rebalancing. I think it could be changed, or I could get more comfortable with it. I don't know, but it's definitely something that I like the concept of, but I'm not sure if I'm going to like the furthest implementation of it. But moving on to the next thing that I surprisingly almost really like more than anything on this map, and that's the fog. The fog does things mechanically, does things thematically that I just adore. This fog is what the transit fog should have been. This fog, first of all, it's gorgeous. Like, it's really beautiful. It makes the map beautiful. It looks like actual fog. Things go into and out of the fog very mysteriously, very frighteningly. and I love how it feels to be in the fog. You feel, obviously when you're first in the fog, you're like, this sucks because I have no idea where I'm going. But once you learn the map, once you understand the map, you're like, okay, I'm just going to go over here and it doesn't really matter as long as you're kind of hugging a wall or whatever. So it's not that big of a deal to traverse in the fog. Training in the fog is a little bit difficult. It's a little bit chaotic. That might add to why the boss fight or the boss zombie feels a little bit too crazy and chaotic. But ultimately, I love the way the fog looks. But this fog doesn't just look pretty. It's not just to hide your poor textures there, Treyarch. It actually does something to the zombies. And I didn't know this until I watched a Nixaro video, and I was very excited and happy that it did, because the fog affects the zombies. The fog makes the zombies tame. The fog makes the zombies walk towards you. The fog makes the zombies lose you. It was round 20 something. I don't know what round it was. It was in the 20s, and the fog rolls in, and the zombies just kind of pause. They're like, where did Donuts go? Where is he at? Now the thing is, if you don't run, if you don't fire your weapon, they'll stay like that. Obviously, if you get close enough, they'll be like, oh hey, there you are. But you can just walk past them, and if they do catch on to you, you can walk a certain distance away and they'll lose you. This is a nice dynamic atmospheric element that we've never seen in zombies before. This is awesome. There was a moment in the trailer when our heroes open a door and there's like a group of zombies who don't really know that there's a group of zombies that don't know our heroes are there until one of them like makes a sound and all of the zombies turn around. That is something that I love. That's something that I want. That sort of experience is what I want. Obviously, I'm going to say that I don't want it in a round-based shooter, but I love the fact that Sledgehammer thought of that. Like, they thought of that dynamic. What if this fog rolls in and it's not annoying, but it's cool and it does something and it adds something to the map? That's what it does. This fog does add something to the map. This fog does not take away from my experience like a transit fog does or a Call of the Dead fog does. This fog adds to this map, and I absolutely adore that. And who knew I'd be saying that about fog rolling in 2018? On a side note, I would love to, like, in the next zombies map, kind of have an area where you just open the door and there's like a horde of zombies, just kind of like, not aggravated, just kind of just sitting there. And then you do something and then they all look at you like, oh, that was such a cool moment in the trailer. And we kind of get that with the fog, but like, it'd be so cool to have that in a map, you know, that'd be really, really cool. It's just some ideas. I love that. I love how thoughtful they are at Sledgehammer there. But now let's talk about some of the things that don't quite work so well. The old boss zombies. I know I made that video saying my favorite thing about World War II zombies was the boss zombies, and I'll say that the weaker ones, the ones without arms, the pests, they're not that bad in this map. The exploding guys aren't so bad, but the guys with the iron arm, those big ones, the, what do you call it? The mulchers? No, not the mulchers. That's a different game. But the ones with the iron arm, you know what I'm talking about. I'll remember it later. I feel like they were really well balanced in the final Reich. A lot of that had to do with the map and how wide everything was. Yes, it was easier-ish, but the hallways were just wide enough to where these guys wouldn't be able to hit you or be aggravated by you. This map is really close quarters. This map is very narrow. Having these guys in here kind of makes those guys overpowered because you can't really slip past them and deal with them later like you could in the final Reich. It's a small thing, and they're not like super overpowered still. It's not like game breaking, but it's just a little bit of a nuance that I noticed and thought it was worth mentioning, that these guys are fairly significantly more difficult to deal with in the Darkest Shore than they were in the final Reich. So that's really what I have to say, except for one huge thing, and this is a very important thing. I know it's late into the video, but this is worth saying because it needs to be taken and heard from Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer. What about the Darkest Shore makes me want to play it over the final Reich? There's not a whole lot. I mean, there's the new enemy type, which I may or may not like. There is the fog, which I do like, so we got a nice different atmosphere. It looks different, right? with the Wonder Weapon is not all that great. I upgraded it and I found out that I probably should not have upgraded it because it's actually an instant kill unupgraded for all rounds rather than actually upgrading it, though I found upgrading it to be really fun and building it to be rather easy as well. But ultimately, once upgraded, once I was able to shoot it, it really didn't add anything to the experience. Like on round 15 or 17 or whatever, it wasn't like decimating zombies. And I'm going to make a video about why I think wonder weapons should be overpowered, or very, very powerful at least. And it's just not fun. Like, this wonder weapon is not fun. Like, it's just like the Tesla gun. Like, there's no fun in getting it. I mean, there's fun in getting it, but there's no fun in using it. And that kind of bleeds into the entire map, I think. Why would I ever play World War II zombies over Infinite Warfare zombies? Why would I play Infinite Warfare zombies over Black Ops 3 zombies? I'm not saying any one is better or worse. These maps can be good, they can be bad. I think the Darkest Shore as well as the Final Reich are very, very good maps. I really like the dynamics put into place here by Sledgehammer. However, what experience are you giving me that I haven't experienced already? Now, I'm not necessarily talking innovation, because it doesn't need to be innovation. It just needs to be dynamic and different. This is something that Black Ops 3 had down. Playing Shadows of Evil was significantly different than playing Der Eisendrache. Playing Der Eisendrache was significantly different than playing Revelations. Playing Gorod Krovi was very different than playing Zetsubo no Shima. And all of those were different than playing the Giant, or really any of the Zombie Chronicles maps. Black Ops 3 and Treyarch knows how to do variety. I do not believe there was a best zombies map. I don't think it's possible to have a best zombies map. But there should be the best zombies map that zombie map set out to be. With the Final Reich and with the Darkest Shore, I don't know what they were going for. I don't know why I should play those maps. I don't understand what the appeal is. That's not the right word. I don't get what experience they want me to experience. That's the one. In Shadows of Evil, there's a very unique experience of opening Pack-a-Punch, doing rituals, sacrificing these people. That was an experience, okay? Game mechanics wise, it was like, you know, a combination of Mob of the Deb's Afterlife and turning on the generators on Origins. But really, emotionally, you were sacrificing something and opening up and doing these rituals. That was interesting, that was compelling. And that was completely different than on Der Eisendrache, when you just teleport these pieces. When you teleport those pieces, that means something. That's telling a story. What happened to that Pack-a-Punch? That kind of, it's getting you into the story. And that's not the focus of Der Eisendrache. The focus is on the bows, and the bows are compelling in and of themselves because that's a whole unique experience. You get these stories, you get these tales, and there's these 4 keepers holding these 4 bows, and it's so different. And maybe when we look at the specific game mechanics, especially when we look at Zetsubo no Shima and the Skull of Non-Stopway, yes, it's just rituals, yes, it's just Origins generators, which we can get burnt out of, but that experience that we get of cleansing the skull and then doing another ritual with the skull, it makes us feel something, and it makes us have an emotion about the map and a memory about the map that makes me and all of us want to replay it. I want to play Zetsubo no Shima for the feeling that I get out of it, not because of how easy or difficult any one thing on that map is. I want to play Der Eisendrache not because of how easy it is, but because of how fun and enjoyable the experience is on that map. I don't know if I'm making any sort of sense, but the experience of the Final Reich I really enjoy, specifically the Tesla gun. That's why I always talk about it, because that's a really cool experience, and they did that so well. But there's no experience on the Darkest Shore outside of every 3 rounds there's fog, and that's not compelling enough to me to go and play it over and over again, at least in my opinion. And I think that's something that we can all learn from. Especially, you know, Treyarch does it very well, but even they understand that each map needs to be unique in its own way. And Infinite Warfare did a decent job with the themes and everything, and kind of making that their own experience. That's what I do like about Infinite Warfare Zombies, and I really like World War II zombies from a game mechanics perspective. Now we just need that unique emotion from it. At least that's what I believe is missing. I don't have an emotional connection with either of these maps, except for the Tesla gun upgrade part right there. But that would be my advice. That's the only negative thing that I have to say about it. I hope that makes sense. It's not necessarily negative, but I can see it being a downside to the success of these maps. This is a great game mode by a great design team who knows horror and knows how to do horror and is really, really good at it. And I'm excited to see what they do. I just want it to be different and compelling and intriguing. I want this to be an experience. I want people to say, no, you need to play the Final Reich because you need to experience this. You need to play DLC 4 of World War II Zombies because you need to experience this. You can't get this on any other map. What can I get with World War II Zombies that I cannot get on any other experience out there in zombies? That's the answer that we need, or that's the question that we need answered. So that's what I'll leave you with, guys. That's what I'll leave you with here today, guys. Leave a like if you made it this far into the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until the next absolutely beautiful Zombies morning, I'll catch up with you guys later. And as always, stay beautiful.